Good afternoon, welcome back. It's Val in Vancouver here. Just coming back on a nice sunny day again in Vancouver. It's Easter weekend. Hope everybody's enjoying it to the best of their abilities in these strange and crazy times we're having. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. Not so much different, but I'm going to be pouring over, as you can probably see here, I've got 4 jars in front of me. And so I'm going to be pouring over all 4 of them at once. Well, one after another, of course, on a 10-inch by 20-inch canvas so that I can use the runoff to create something hopefully cool and exciting looking on the canvas itself. So I've got 2 little mason jars here. These ones are cute in that they have fruit and vegetable type symbols etched into the glass. See how that shows up on it. And these ones are just 2 other little sort of milk jug style jars that I have. The ones that are the mason jar style have the standard screw-on mason jar lids, but these other 2 ones here just have these little cork lids. So they're not good for something that you want to store long term, but they're good for a few days or things like that. So I'm going to move this a little bit better into the frame for you. So I'm just going to take those off for a minute. And I'm going to just use some spring Eastery, is that a word? Colors today. I'm going to use all Decoart Fluid Art Ready to Pour colors. I'm going to use the ivory, mostly as the background, I think, to fill in any spaces, but I might layer some in the cup. The coral, one of my favorite colors of this brand. The sky blue, the lavender, the mint green, and the pink. So I think I'm going to start with a little bit of the lavender in the bottom. So this is, I think, about a 16 or so ounce cup. I'm going to fill up most of it because between what has to go over the jars and then having enough left over on the to cover the canvas, I'm going to need a fair amount of paint. I was shaking these all up before I got started here. I do like these Decoart ready-made paints. They're certainly easy to use with and they've got lovely colors. I bought them all when they first came out to Michael's about a month or more ago now, and they were 30% off introductory prices, so I bought a bunch of them then. They are a little bit pricey when not on sale, so we'll see when I run out of these whether I buy more or wait for sales and coupons, which Michael's is good for that. I've noticed though from being on the paint boards that Michael's in Canada versus Michael's in the States are different. Michael's in the States will let you use more than 1 coupon per transaction. Michael's in Canada will not, so that's not a good thing. Another thing I find just annoying somewhat about Michael's is that, you know, their coupons, at least in Canada, are not allowed to be used on their everyday value items, but you can't tell by looking at an item on the shelf if that's an everyday value item and therefore not can't be used with a coupon. Just my own little pet peeve about Michael's. Alright, let's just I think we can do another layer of everything. This cup is going to be pretty full, but very pretty spring Easter colors for sure. Almost tempted not to do over the jars. This is going to look really pretty, but the jars will look pretty with it too, so. Okay, last little bit of ivory. Alright, I might use the ivory to fill in on the canvas before I start tilting once I've done the jars. Whoa! Almost spilled the mint green there. Okay. Now normally you would have something on top of the jar. You'd be using the jar to pour over or to hold so that you could get underneath the jar, but I'm not worried about touching my fingerprints to these or my fingers when I go to move them because they'll be fine. Let me just grab some paper towels. I want to make sure I have some paper towels to lay these onto once I go to move them. Alright, so let's begin. I think I'll just start on one end and work my way along. The little jars are a little easier to cover because they don't have this one has a bit of a edge on the rim there, so let's just make sure this all gets covered. Okay, so it looks like the two little ones are covered. These ones are a little bit harder because that neck goes down so narrow. So let's hopefully see if sometimes just touching the paint will help it to flow to cover up those spots. But let's just keep the paint going. Doesn't want to run on this spot here. And you just got to touch it a little bit to get it to flow. Just making sure it's going to cover all of it. Trying to see in there. Sorry if my head gets in the way of your view. Just want to make sure these are all covered. Okay, so those look great, just the way they are. We're going to let those sit for a minute, and then we will come back and move them off and continue with the canvas. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. So they seem to have mostly stopped running off, but they will do a little bit more, so I'm going to move them over to the paper towels that I set up for them to finish draining on. So I'm going to try and touch them as little as possible. Don't worry about if there's any finger marks, because they are still draining. Still going to drain this a little bit because there's an awful lot on top of that. This one because it has an indented bottom. Do the same with this one. Just get that run off the top there. And this last one. Alright, so we ended up with not too bad of amounts here. So I'm definitely going to use, I think, some of the beige, or actually it's ivory, I don't know why I called it beige, to help this flow. And I'm just going to use my little knife here to spread this around a little bit. Move that up to the edge of the puddle. My voice sounds a little weird this afternoon. I don't know if it's... I know I've had some issues going on with allergies. I think my voice is just a bit dry. I don't think I've been drinking as much as normal today. All right, almost done. There we go. All right, let's do some tilting and see what happens. Take it down to this corner and then do the other corner. And we'll just turn this around. And we'll take it down this side. And let's get it down to this other corner. Here we go. I'm just going to turn it around again. See if we can run it over a little bit here on this side. Then we'll go back again to the other end. Okay, there we go. So I'm not 100% liking this big white patch here, although I'm usually not adverse to negative space or white patches at all, although of course it's not actually white, it's ivory colored, sorry. But you know what, I'm going to leave it and see what happens. I am going to grab a paper towel and wipe my fingers off, and then I'm going to torch it a little, get rid of any air bubbles and see if anything comes up. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's give this a little torch. Lots of little air bubbles in there because I had just shaken up all the paint just before I started this video. So that's okay. And there we go. Alright, so let's just let this sit for another minute, and then we'll come back and I'll take you in for a close-up of the canvas and of the jars that we did over. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back and we're just looking now at the completed canvas. It's obviously not dry. It's only been sitting for a few minutes and nothing much has popped up, but that's okay. I wasn't expecting to. There's no silicone in any of those paints. So let's move in for some close-ups. Overall, though, I think it's quite pretty, even with the bigger open ivory patches. So let's have a look. We'll go move in down here to the lower left corner. And again, just reminding you, this is a 10 by 20 canvas. So the colors, this is one thing I do like about the Decoart colors, is when you pour them in a cup like I did, just kind of all willy-nilly, generally speaking, they still stay well separated and defined, but I love, love, love this stripe up here. And it goes all the way up to the opposite side of the canvas. So, and there's some more stripes up there that I'll show you when I get up there. And we'll move over to the bottom right corner. Very, very pretty with this lavender in here. I really like that. Moving into the sky blue and the mint green. It's a very, very pretty pastel Easter look there. And then we'll move up to the right corner. So through that little patch of ivory. Upside down, kind of makes me start to think of a horse's head or something like that upside down. But we'll see when I have a look at it. I might embellish that and make it stand out, or I might just leave it as it is. So that's the top right corner. And we'll move across, and then we've got, so there's that striping that went all the way up that I showed you just a second ago. And then we've got these zigzag ones here that I really like. And then we've got more very distinct striping here, again, which I very much like. And over to the left, so we'll back up again to give you the picture of all of it. Really liking it. And before I show you the jars, I want to show you the inside of the cup. Well, even the outside. The outside is definitely very pastel Easter egg looking. And then inside, again, is very, very pretty. The cup. Alright, so let's have a look at the little jars. It's hard to get close because I don't want to dip my hand into the painting, so let me just see if I can tilt up my camera there. Alright, so there's the one little jar, and so you can see the little fruits and vegetables. Those are grapes, I believe, right there that we're seeing, the little bumps right there. So it's hard for, I'm not going to be able to really go all the way around these, but I really like how we got the linear stripes on these ones. And now this one actually fell over on me before I just started to move in for the close-up, so it got a little bit swishy in its pattern there, but because I had to grab it and pick it up, but it still looks good. I'm not worried about it. These are just for fun, but if we go around to the side of that, we can still see that it's got nice stripes and stuff. And then we've got the last little jar. Love the stripes coming over this side here. Very, very cute. Let's see if I can move around a little bit on these just to give you a little bit better of a view. Right now they're just kind of sitting on their lids or their cork tops, which I think is why this one fell over, because it's not steady on that cork top really. But you can get a little bit better view of the sides of them going this direction. Not perfect, I know. I'm going to swing it around so we can look from the other side, just to give you a little bit of a side view of them. Again, I know it's not a perfect view, but where they are right now, I don't want to have to move them. So there you can see more of the striping on that one. Quite pretty, and I love the striping on that one. Very, very awesome. So there you have it. So much fun, so easy to pour over items. And then if you do, say if you can do them on a canvas, you can end up with getting more results and not wasting much, if any, paint. But speaking of that, don't forget to scrape your edges with your little, either a popsicle stick or one of these little palette type knives. Just want to scrape the edges so that you get the excess off, so that it doesn't drag your composition off, especially if you've achieved something maybe really awesome that you were looking at, you know, with cells and all kinds of, you know, if you're doing bloom techniques or things like that. So you should do that, you know, when you're done your painting, and then maybe 10 or 15 minutes later do it again. So there you have it. So essentially I've got 5 for the price of 1. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy.